Hello and welcome back to the Hood Table one more again. Thank you for tuning in today. Please make sure you like and share the video and also subscribe to the Hood Table if you are not already subscribed. Please and thank you very much. Today we are remembering those who lost their lives 15 years ago on December 5th of 2007 and those who were also injured and suffered from that tragedy. Today we remember Gary Sharf, Beverly Flynn, Angie Shuster, Diane Trent, Janet Jorgensen, John McDonald, Gary Joy, and Maggie Webb. Those are the 8 people who lost their lives to that mass shooting in the Von Maur Mall on December 5th of 2007. It has been 15 years since Omaha experienced a great community tragedy. As many of you guys know, I live in Omaha, Nebraska, and I do remember this tragedy as if it was yesterday. And each year on December 5th, we remember those we lost on the anniversary of the Von Maur Mall shooting. The memory of those that lost their lives on that day remains strong for the entire community. So please join us today and remember those who lost their lives on that day and everyone who was affected by that mass shooting. And please support those. If you know anybody personally who was affected or impacted from that, please support them. And again, we ask you to remember them during this holiday season. Now, a lot of you who were in Omaha, Nebraska around that time, or and those who might not have actually lived here during that time, still remember what happened that day. A 19-year-old gunman had killed 8 people and then himself at the Westrows Mall in Omaha, Nebraska. He did leave a suicide note, and they did identify him as Robert A. Hawkins, 19 years old, of Nebraska. Charles Thomas Warren of the Omaha Police Department called the shooting premeditated, but said it appears to be very random and without provocation. Later, they did recover an SKS assault rifle and the suspect's vehicle. Deborah Marco Kovac, Hawkins' landlord, had found the suicide note, said he wrote he was sorry for everything and did not want to be a burden to anyone any longer. Hawkins said in the note he loved his family, he loves his friends, but he was a piece of SHIT all his life, and now he'll be famous. She said Hawkins was a friend of her son's and reminded her of a lost puppy that nobody wanted. He came to live with her about a year and a half ago, telling her he could not stay with his own family because of some issues with his stepfather and with him. She described Hawkins at that time as well behaved, although he had a lot of emotional problems, obviously. The shootings began around 1:42 p.m. 7 people were found dead at the scene by officers arriving 6 minutes later. 2 others, a male and a female, died after being transported to Creighton University Medical Center. 3 other people were at that time taken to the University of Nebraska Medical Center. The other 2 were treated and released. So that is a little back information on the story about the Von Maur Mall shooting in Omaha, Nebraska. Again, that happened December 5th, 2007, right here in Omaha, Nebraska, at the West Ross Mall inside the Von Maur store. And again, we do want to remember each and every one of those that was affected, especially those who lost their lives during that time. Gary Sharf was killed during the mass shooting at the Von Maur Mall. Gary Sharf was on his way home to Lincoln after a business trip in Iowa when he stopped at the Von Maur store. I'm sure he got in front of other people and took a bullet that might have hit someone else, said his ex-wife, Kim Sharp. There's no doubt in my mind, I promise you, that's who he is to a fault. Sharp, 48, sold agriculture products and was devoted to helping people, she said. Recently, he helped a single mom get her car started, then got her address and delivered her a package of groceries and blankets to her doorstep, she said. I called him Dudley Do-Right, Kim Sharp said. I'm not kidding. You never meet a more honorable and loyal man. Raised in a small Nebraska town, Gary Sharp graduated from the University of Nebraska in Lincoln. Kim Sharp said the couple divorced about 3 years ago, but he followed me out of divorce court and said we'd remarry in 6 months. They saw each other each and every day and were planning to get married. She planted roses for each success. Beverly Flynn was another person who lost her life during that tragic mall shooting. Beverly Flynn, a gift wrapper at the Von Maur Mall, at the Von Maur store, also had been a real estate agent for MP Dodge Company since a year before her death. Whenever she closed a deal, the 47-year-old woman planted a rose bush in the yard of new homeowners as a move-in gift, company spokeswoman Susan Young said. That was her way to put her style on the whole transaction, Young said. She was a very warm individual. Shot in the chest, Flynn was taken to Creighton University Medical Center where attempts to resuscitate her failed. All we know is that a fine human being has been taken from us prematurely and that she and the other victims will be greatly missed, said Sandy Dodge, president of MP Dodge, in a letter to employees. Angie Shuster, another one who lost her life during that mall shooting. Angie Shuster had planned to teach elementary school after graduating from college, but when she couldn't find a job in the field, she started working in retail, said her oldest sister, Donna Kennel. Shuster, 36, of Omaha, was a manager in the girls department at Von Maur, where she had worked for nearly 10 years, Kinko said. The department is near the third floor elevator, where Kinko said meant she probably didn't have any chance, any warning against the gunman. They said he got on the elevator and she would have been right there in his way, she said. The sisters were born 11 months apart and lived a mile from each other. They last saw each other the Sunday before at a child's birthday party at the Omaha Zoo. She was in a very happy place in her life. She met a man, Kinko said, and they were very happy. Diane Trent, another one who lost her life during the mass shooting. Diane Trent, a store employee, spent warm evenings tending to the flowers on her porch, drinking tea and chatting with her neighbor, Errol Schlinkler. A very incredibly sweet person, Strinkler said. She was a middle-of-the-road American, a dedicated worker. She was just a decent person who lived a good life here. Divorced many years ago with no children, Trent, 53, lived in a northwest Omaha townhouse with a small dog and two cats, Schlinkler said. She called me a couple times when she was afraid of something, when she heard noises outside, he said. I know she was always concerned about her safety as far as the way things were going in society and being a single woman. John McDonald, another person who lost their life during the mall shooting. John McDonald and his wife of 40 years were getting Christmas gifts wrapped at the Von Maur when the shooting started. They tried to hide behind a car, but he was shot and died before paramedics could reach him, said his wife, Kathy. He was one of the greatest people anyone could hope to meet, Kathy McDonald said. He had a fantastic sense of humor. He was so accepting of people. The retired couple lived across the Missouri River from Omaha in Council Bluffs, Iowa. John McDonald, 65, loved music, electronics, and astronomy, and he played bridge and the guitar. They were just nice, ordinary people who didn't deserve to die, neighbors Shirley Espedo said. She said her husband and John McDonald would talk football out in the front yard. John McDonald is survived by his wife, 2 children, and 7 granddaughters. Gary Joy, another person who had lost their life during the mass shooting. Gary Joy loved writing stories and poems and was a devoted son, his 91-year-old mother said. Inez Joy said her 56-year-old son often dined with her at her Omaha retirement community, most recently at Thanksgiving. He always came when I needed help, she said. Gary Joy, a Von Maur employee from Omaha, died before he arrived at the hospital. I've been through tragedy before, his mother said. You hurt. There's not a thing you can do about it. Joy, who had also lived in Denver, was divorced and had no children. He is survived by his mother and older brother. Jan Jorgensen, someone else who also lost their lives that day. Jan Jorgensen, a longtime employee in Von Maur's gift department, was popular with coworkers and customers alike, her daughter-in-law said. Almost everyone who shopped there seemed to know the 66-year-old woman, Omaha woman, because of her friendly, outgoing personality, said the daughter-in-law, who didn't want her name used. Jorgensen, who worked at the store since it opened about a dozen years ago, was survived by a husband, 3 children, and 8 grandchildren. And last but not least, Maggie Webb is another person who lost her life during that tragic mass shooting. Maggie Webb was new to the Omaha Von Maur store. She transferred there from a Chicago location earlier that year, according to her alma mater, Illinois State University. She graduated in 2005 with a degree in business administration. Webb, who was about 2 weeks shy of her 25th birthday, was the youngest victim of Wednesday's shooting rampage back on December 5th of 2007. The Quad City Times reported that Webb grew up in Illinois and graduated from Moline High School in 2001. She was active in the school dance team and Spanish club, among other activities. One of my main staff commented to me about One of my staff commented to me about Maggie, saying she was one of the good ones. They paused and said, "No, one of the great ones," Moline Principal Bill Barris said. And once again, you guys, this is the 15th year anniversary since this tragic Von Maur mall shooting. Again, the mass shooting happened December 5th of 2007. And again, we would like everyone to please remember those who lost their lives, everyone who was affected by the shooting. And if you know anybody personally, again, who was affected by the shooting, and even if you don't, please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Reach out to them if you know them. Let them know that there is somebody there who is thinking of them, especially because it is the holiday season. And we know when the holiday seasons come around, a lot of people get very emotional, get very stressed, get very depressed when they start to remember those who used to once be a part of their everyday lives, including the holiday season. Thank you again for tuning in today. All my hoodies, please like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and keep those in our hearts, thoughts, and minds during this holiday season.